Hey Gecko fans, this is Wally with Supreme Gecko, and today we're talking about Coleonyx brevis. It's the Texas Banded Gecko, but more importantly we're talking about this new rack, this mini micro gecko rack. It's our baby grow out rack. We're going to talk about the rack, we're going to talk about Coleonyx brevis, coming right up. You guys just know I love the banded geckos, all the Coleonyx. Currently I'm keeping Coleonyx variegatus, mitratus, elegans, and now brevis as well. I've kept brevis in the past, and you can take a look at those videos that I've shared in the past, especially a care video. We're not going to get into care today. We're going to talk about the different setup that I've changed over to, but you can check out the care video that I've shared in the past right here. Now in that care video I showed that I was keeping these brevis in a 12 to 15 quart sterilite container. It worked out really well. It was a sand based substrate. I had to moisten the sand in certain spots, especially under the flower pots, to keep it a little bit more humid, and especially to offer these brevis, Coleonyx brevis, a place that they could lay their eggs. That just didn't work. It was so hard to find the eggs when they laid the eggs in the sand, and to keep the whole substrate moist enough, so I changed over to a completely different setup. Now in those 15 quarts, that worked great for a single pair, but it just felt like a lot of room. I've gone over to these 6 quarts, and I'll share a link in the description where you can find these 6 quarts online. Last summer of 2022, I went out and purchased 5 pair of Coleonyx brevis. Now I'm keeping the males separate from the females. You can see the 10 different enclosures here. And I've pretty much matched them off from male to female. And I introduced these in the springtime, let them stay for a couple of weeks, and then pull the males back out into their containers. The ambient temperature here is in the 70s, low 70s to mid 70s, but I do have heat tape in the back that keeps the back end of these enclosures around 85, maybe up to 90 degrees as well. We're feeding a variety of foods, including and especially micro mealworms, small mealworms, fruit flies, small crickets, whatever these guys can take. They're a little bit finicky of an eater, and they're especially shy. We probably won't get them on recording of them eating today. Let's go ahead and take a look at one of these enclosures. All 10 of them are set up exactly the same. Here we can see the humid hide. We have a food dish that has calcium and vitamins in it. We also have a small water dish. These are small dishes. These are bottle caps because these animals are so small. I also have egg carton on one side just to hold some of the humidity, and they like to stay under that egg carton sometimes. We're keeping a sand substrate of about 1/2 of an inch or so. That's Reptilite. I love the Reptilite products. But most important, you can see that we're using these little hide boxes. A small hole will allow the animals to get in and out whenever they want to. Inside I have peat moss, and it's slightly damp. This is where they're going to stay a majority of their time, and it's also the place where the females will lay their eggs. This is so much easier to keep humid and moist instead of trying to moisten that sand underneath the flower pots. I've mentioned before that these animals are especially shy. I tell you what, they're also poop machines. Their enclosures are always filthy. I go in every single feeding to clean up all of the excess in these enclosures. I'm really hoping for a successful 2023 with these animals. I'm hoping for a lot of eggs and a lot of babies from these 5 pair. Last year we had 1 pair lay 1 set of 2 eggs. Now those eggs hatched out. They did great. I incubate the eggs at about 82 degrees. I put them in small 2-inch by 2-inch boxes with peat moss, moistened peat moss again, and that seems to work out very, very well. Those 2 eggs hatched out. I kept the babies in a small deli cup with peat moss just to keep that humidity up, but unfortunately I didn't move them over to a sand-based substrate quick enough, and after about a month or so, and they were eating so well, eventually I did lose those 2 babies. I did learn my lesson, and next year I'll keep them right away on substrate of sand. I tell you what, I feel very fortunate to be able to work with 5 different pair of these Coleonyx brevis. Let's go ahead and do a quick slideshow of these 5 pair.
Just like the street lights lit this town, like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down. Can't be afraid to leave this out. We got
This is such a cool small gecko. They only get to be about 3.5 inches long. If you're interested in keeping these geckos, make sure that you check out this video right here on the care of Coleonyx brevis, the Texas Banded Gecko. Thank you everyone for joining us today. We'll see you next time.